Welcome to the Drawalong. I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for deciding to join my Patreon and being a part of this adventure with me. As you probably know, Drawalong actually started back in lockdown. I was drawing characters every week on IGTV Live, and just with everything getting in the way, I wasn't able to kind of continue with it in the way that I wanted to. But now we have it here on Patreon. So as I'm sure you know, the way it's going to work is every month we are going to be drawing a character based on a chosen animated movie. And we're going to be drawing the character that doesn't exist in the film right now. We're going to be adding it into the world. And so there's a technique that we're going to be using to help us do that. Now, there's two things you can do with this draw along. Either you can draw along and copy what I do, or you can use the worksheet, which you should have. I'll put it here for the camera and also here. You should have this on your Patreon listing account form post. In your email, you will have had this, and this is your worksheet that I've created, and we're designing a character based on some real simple fundamentals. We're basing our new character on the facts we know about some of the lead characters already in that movie. So for example, here, for the first movie, we are looking at Monsters, Inc., the most wonderful Disney Pixar animation for a long time. To be fair, they're all pretty wonderful, but this one is really a good place to start with the variety of characters and the creativity and flexibility we can do. So what I've done is I have found the two key characters, which are Sully here and Mike Wazowski here. And what we're doing is we're looking at their silhouettes, the shapes they make. So if we turn all the lights off, and so we just have the two silhouettes, and then we simplify the shape, we are left with these two shapes. So you can see Sully is quite a blocky character, like a rectangle, and Mike Wazowski is effectively a circle. So what we want to do is we want to create a character that will fit in with that world, but we want them to stand out. So we want them to be a different shape and size. So ideally, we want to avoid a blocky shape and we want to avoid a round shape because they're already there. So a technique that character designers use when they are designing new characters is to have difference in the characters in their silhouettes, so they stand out, so they differentiate from each other. For example, if you look at any of the famous cartoons, the double acts are often very opposite from each other. For example, Tom and Jerry, one's a big cat, one is a small mouse, so there's a massive difference in their size and what they look like. This happens a lot across a lot of animation. So in order to make our character fit into their world, let's use the information we have here with these two characters and create something different. So that's something we need to consider when we are designing. And we can also consider as well the texture. We have fur and we have kind of smooth skin. So those are all the things we can think about. Then we're going to draw the character, and then I'm going to outline the character, and then we're going to colour the character. That's going to come in just a little while. And I have given you some suggested colours that we can use, but I'll talk about that when it comes to colouring, because again, I've used a kind of scientific technique to work out which colours to use. And I'll share some links with those of what I did. So let's look at creating this character. Okay, so we have a square, we have a circle. I am keen to have a triangular character of some description. But the question is, do I have the point of the triangle up here or the point down here? Okay, so I'm just using a very standard piece of paper and a pencil. I'm using nothing fancy, so just use whatever materials you have to hand. And I think I'm going to do an upside down type of character. So if I just rough out the triangle. And that's going to be the base, my very basic silhouette. So now I need to add to it. Now the monsters we have two horns. So if I want to do something a little bit different, again, so it stands out, so we're working we're complementing the information we already have about these characters. I might have 3 horns because he's a triangle, or she, or they are a triangle. Let's have a look here. Let's have 1 horn, something like this, and maybe let's just have a 3rd horn going on here. Let's look at the legs. So we've got 2 different types of legs. Sully has very thick legs. Mike Wazowski has very fine legs. He's got fine legs. His legs are very thin and small, kind of frog-like, perhaps. So maybe this character doesn't even have legs. Maybe he just has feet, like really small legs. And let's have a look. Something like that. Now, Sully has really long arms. Mike Wazowski has kind of proportionate arms to the size of his legs. What do we want to do here? So we could either do some really simple, like just really small hands, or big gangly arms like Sully has, but maybe doing thinner. And it's interesting as well, if we look at his silhouette, his shoulders, it looks like they come out of his head. So he's a very hunched character. So maybe I want this character's arms to start a little bit lower. Kind of something more like Mike Wazowski. So he's very broad at top like Sully, but he has the arms that start a little bit lower like Mike. Okay, let's try something like that. And how long are they going to be? Maybe they're trailing on the floor. Perhaps these are trailing on the floor. We can have his hands trailing down there. Now, is he going to have ears? I keep saying he. It might be a she. Are they going to have ears? Let's think. So, Sully has ears, I believe, although I don't think they're not very clear in this picture. I think his ears are kind of around by his horns, whereas Mike Wazowski doesn't have ears. So maybe this character needs ears again to be different from what we have here. Let's think. Yeah, I'm gonna give. I don't want to give him devil horns, devil ears. Maybe just want to have tiny little cute ears up here. Something like that. The thing I want to be careful of is already, if you just look at this silhouette, it looks like I'm working at a square, because the way I've done these arms, I've kind of taken out the triangular shape. So I wonder actually if I need to make the arms start a little bit lower. So we have to emphasize that triangle. I think I'm going to do that, you know. I think I'm going to go back here. This is just a very standard eraser, non-smudge PVC free that I use. Top fact here, bread was originally used as an eraser. Good knowledge. I assume that was a bit of white bread back in the day rather than you kind of fancy granary sourdoughs you'd get nowadays. Might be a little bit more trickier to turn into an eraser. Okay, so let's just go back and just make these arms a little bit smaller here. I quite like the idea of them trailing behind, like they have fingers and there's very long arms. Okay, so here we have an outline and we have these cute ears. Let's think about eyes. I like drawing my cartoon characters with eyes something like this and the smile that connects the two. Oh, okay. I was actually going to rub that out, but I think that actually looks quite cute. I think if I don't want to make that mouth much bigger. Okay, so let's have a small mouth like this. The thing is, we want this character to live in the Monsters Inc. world. This is a very different style to the type of characters they have in Monsters Inc. because they have like fully formed eyeballs and irises and the eyeball. Whereas this character, in a way that I like to draw, is just the 2 dots of the pupils. So we need to do something about that, just so it feels a little bit more in keeping, yet different enough. There we go. Do we want it to have a nose? I think no nose. They have the ears. Okay, all right. So this is the outline of the character that we have. Now it's time to think about texture and what sort of feel the monster is going to have. Is it going to be furry? Is he going to be slimy? Is he going to have smooth skin? Now, these are dry characters. The opposite of dry is wet. So this might be good to have like a wet character. So maybe like slimy. So that might be the thing. That might be the thing here for this new character to join. We have, if we're working on opposites to fit in, we have the triangle shape, which is different from the circle and the block rectangle. And if we're looking at texture, we can go for like a slimy feel, which is different to the dry skin and the fur of Sully there. Yeah, done. Let's go for it. So I suppose do we want him to have like drips? Maybe the drips can be like part of his hair or to look like hair. I'm so sorry, I keep referring to this character as a he. I have no idea. What are you, little character? What are you? And as I'm drawing in these drips, I'm imagining he's kind of like got jam on him or something like that. Or her. Ah, my pronouns, sorry. Are actually like hair. So I'm just putting some little drips on the character. Cute. Okay. And the only thing is Mike Wazowski and Sully are quite lovable characters. I'm not sure how lovable this character will be if they're covered with slime, because you probably would not want to give that one a cuddle. Maybe you would. I don't know. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a black outline pen. Any outline pen will do. Do not worry. Do not stress about getting top of the range Tombow pens. Although those are great. If you have those, use those. But what this is about, the love of drawing and the art of drawing. It isn't about using expensive materials. So whatever you have to hand. So I'm going to just use this black outliner, a very fine liner. And I'm just going to work on outlining the design. And yeah, I'm going to get on with that now. And then we're going to look at colouring him. So let's go. And just before I do, I want to change my design ever so slightly. I like the idea of one of these horns being different as well. And I think I think this is a girl character because Mike and Sully are 2 boys, or male. Well, certainly I didn't. And so let's have this one as female. And yeah. Okay. I might change to a different pen because I think this one is actually just a little bit too fine. We'll see. So when you are inventing your characters, I think it's really important to understand that there are no rules. It's your character and you can do whatever you like. Or if you're copying this character, you can add and change things as well. You don't have to do exactly as I'm doing. So how is this slime going to interact with the horns, I wonder? Maybe we've got some... Maybe that's where the slime starts. I feel like we're getting a very interesting story coming out of this character already. Some character designers, or certainly some of the character designers that I've worked with, or that I know from when I was working in animation, is that it's really important for them to know the story to help inform the design. So there's all sorts of different things you can think about to help design your characters. And so we can think about what their hands are going to look like. Are they going to be slimy as well? Put a little joint of an elbow in there. It looks like this little character has kind of hoofy type feet, quite ploddy and hoofy. Let's look at these eyes. When I'm drawing characters' eyes, I always like to leave a little bit of white. I don't know if you can see, hopefully you can see that I'm not colouring in the whole of the pupil, because the extra little bit of white, although when I rub out the pencil you'll see that it's whiter, that gives the illusion of shine. So it's like the character's alive, it has a wet eye, and that it just helps bring a little bit of life into your character. Just going to turn it around so I can get the same shape of eyes. And I'm going to give the character eyelashes. mouth. There's her mouth. So, I think that'd be okay for now. So I am going to rub out all the pencil marks. And then I am going to take a picture, because this is going to be available as a colouring in sheet for the Drawalong Patreon tier. And then I'm going to come back and we are going to colour the character in using the colour palette that I have created, and I'll explain more about how in just a moment once we come back. So let's rub out. So by now you've drawn your character, so you could either copy mine or you have created your own. Now let's look at colour. Let's look at the colour palette. I've used colour theory here, and you don't have to use this colour theory. I'm just basing this on some facts to help us pin down the colours that we can choose. So what we have here, we have the three main colours that we find in the top character, and the three main colours we find in the bottom character. So the predominant colour of Sully is this kind of turquoisey blue, but he also has accents of purple and very small accents of this kind of taupey brown, which you can find in his horns and his toenails. And then if we look at Mike Wazowski, the character here, he has a lot of green. He also has a lot of white as a character in his eyeball, and the other accent is found in the iris, kind of like this lovely bluey jadey green. So what I've done, I have put these colours into a colour wheel to tell me what the most complementary colour is for them. So theoretically, using the colour wheel from, I will send you the link to the colour wheel as well. Using the colour wheel, it told me that this colour is the most scientifically complementary for these two colours. This kind of peachy colour is most complementary for the purple and the white, and this grey is most complementary for the green and the brown. Now that's just based on technical theory. There's nothing to say that is correct. It's what's most important is what you want to do, what you like, what you prefer. So I asked the website that I put these colours into to give me another option as well, based on colours that are more harmonious with the tones. So slightly different, so not contrasting, but more blending. I hope that makes sense. Don't worry too much. So we have two options that you can choose if you want to. So the colour that they said blended most with these two was this purple, which is interesting because that's the one that's already in Sully here. So I wonder if when they were designing these characters, if they used a colour wheel too. I don't know. The colour that blends most with the purple and the white is this green colour. Again, like Mike Wazowski, but fine. And then the colour that blends with these two colours is this pink. So it's completely up to you. Like I said, you do not have to use that. You can use whatever colours you want, and you can, if you want, replicate the colours of one of these characters. But I, again, want to create a character that will fit into their world. So if we do that, they need to be different, or they need to stand out. So I am going to base it around these colours up here and add in some other tones as well. Okie dokie. So the colours I am using are from this really beautiful set from Faber-Castell. It's the gold Faber pencils, and they come in this box and they smell really nice. Love the smell of fresh art materials. Okay, I got these from, if you're in the UK, I got these from Jackson Art. I don't know if they ship internationally, I'm sure they do, but I will add a link in this video description of where to buy these if you want to use these pencils. But you can use whatever you have to hand and whatever you want. You can use paint if you want, or wax crayons, or felt tips, whatever works best for you. Whatever works best for you is best here. So I am going to start with the main body, and I'm going to go for this type of colour. So I'm looking for a red, and so let's go with this one. And let's go for it. Just planning where I'm going to... So I think she is going to be slimy, so I'm leaving some little white patches, which I'll come back to. To help give the illusion of shine. And I'm thinking she's going to have a reddy brown type of head and face, but a body that maybe uses these sort of colours. But it's completely up to you, like I said, with colours. There's all sorts of avenues we could go down when choosing colours. All sorts of different colour theories. Some people like using colours that reflect emotions. For example, this red, in our culture, kind of the Western culture, for want of a better expression, red tends to symbolise anger, and so people might steer away from red. But then again, if you're in countries in Asia, let's say China, in the Chinese culture, red is considered lucky, which I think is one of the reasons why Mushu in Mulan is red, to bring luck to Mulan. So there's a big context, I think, but context with colour. But it's, like I said right at the start, there's no rules for this. Another thing I want to be careful of with all this red is that this doesn't look like blood, which might imply a scary type of character that you might find in a horror movie. So I'm definitely going for more along the Mushu angle, that it isn't blood. Okay. I could also go so far as to think about how I'm colouring in to create texture. So some artists, when they are using colouring pencils, will do lots of very fine strokes to give an illusion of fur. I think normally if this wasn't filmed, I'll probably take a little bit longer and a bit more care with my colouring. But for now, this is okay. I am going to just go a bit darker around the eyes. I think this is jam. I think she just really, really, really likes jam. Or as they say in America, Jello. No. Jello is jelly, isn't it? Jelly is jam. In America, what we call jam, they call jelly. I think. I'm pretty sure that's right, I think. Cute. I wonder what she's called. Be nice to have the word try, T-R-I, in there somewhere because of the triangular place that we started. And also jelly. Trigilly. Trixie. Not really a jelly type of word, but anyway. Okay, so we've got this kind of grey. I want to use like a blue. But I don't want it to be too similar to Sully over here. I'm going to go for this kind of off grey 273. I think this has got a name. I thought I saw names. Doesn't matter. Anyway. Okay, so I'm gonna do the main body in this kind of grey, browny, taupey colour. So my focus for the minute is just to get the base colour. Oh, sorry, I think it's not the camera. The base colour down, and then I'm going to go in with another colour or darker to add some shading, some shadow, more texture, etc. While I'm doing this, I might just tell you a little story about how this Drawalong came to be. So initially, I wanted to have my Drawalong 100% Disney characters. And I wanted to teach and show you how to draw Disney characters. So I thought, best things best, if I want to do that, I need to ask permission because those are not... the light here is a bit not very good. That I need to ask permission because I do not own those characters, and it isn't right for me to teach in a format that is within Patreon. If you just do it for free on Instagram, that's a slightly different thing. But anyway, so I actually wrote to Disney. I'm going to use this character colour up here. I wrote to Disney and asked permission. So I'm just going to move the paper around so it's a bit more light. Asked permission to do that. And they got back to me and said no. It took absolute weeks. I think I wrote to them, last summer. I think it was August last year, and they didn't get back to me, which is absolutely fine, until like November. So I had to rethink how I was going to do this. And the way that we're doing it is we are celebrating the films, but we're not copying them. We're creating new things. So we are working on new ideas, but being inspired from the wonders that came before us. might put some grey in the over here. So we have that as our base colours. Oh, pencils have gone a bit wild. So let's look at this kind of peachy colour. I'm going to use this one here. And I think for that, I am going to put in the horn up here. So it is more with the accent, so it's like the subtle colour. So if we look at the Mike Wazowski and Sully reference, their accent colours are just very, very small as well. So this green or blue jade colour maybe is only in the iris, and this kind of taupey colour is only in the horn. So I'm going to do that with this as well. And I'm hoping, I'm not too familiar with this colour, that it's going to stand out from this red, but as I'm doing it now, it looks very similar. So I might switch to like an orange, which is quite similar to that colour. Okay, so now I'm just going to take other complementary tones, so darker reds, darker greys and browns, to add in a little bit more kind of 3-dimension. So let's get this, actually I want the lighter brown. As I'm thinking of her name, I just realised that there is another character. No wonder if this is where my idea actually came from. Character in the Disney Pixar world who has 3 horns and is called Trixie. And that is in Toy Story, the Triceratops toy from Toy Story 3. Or she might be in 2. Not sure actually where she started. So let's not call this one Trixie. But I like the idea of Jam. Or we could use that angle name from the triangle. So like Angela, Angie, Jamji, go for the Jam, Jamgula. Angelica. It's got the ang from the triangle and the jelly from the jam. This is Angelica. She's going to need a surname, so all the characters in Monsters Inc. have surnames. Now, do we go with the triangle tri theme again? Or are we going very sensible, like characters have kind of kind of regular surnames, I think. And when I say regular, I mean they're not too fanciful. So I think I might leave it up to you, and I think that might be a poll. Or maybe ask for suggestions and then take it to a poll to find out what this character's surname is. Definitely Angelica with the first name. That's almost too perfect. We have the jelly on the face and the element of the triangle. With the Anne. So I think what I might do is just speed up this part of the video as I'm just trying to add like an illusion of like a hair parting. I don't know if I should read it. Anyway, I'm going to speed this up and so you can see me developing the colours, and then we'll come back in just a little while. Okie dokie. So I think Angelica, the character that's been missing all this time from Monsters Inc., is here. She is ready. As I was colouring her in more, I got more and more concerned about the red looking like blood. Although she's smiling, she has rosy cheeks. To me, it still was looking just a little bit too much like blood. So I went in and added other colours. So you'll see that I added some more pinky purples and some blues and just some different tones just to take away from the harsh red. I was going to colour the face in more, but I wanted to leave it just that little bit paler. I also created like an illusion of fringe here, which is contradictory to what we were planning with the kind of slimy vibe of the character. But I think it just added a little bit more cuteness, and also like the line I was creating from the top of this horn through here. I was creating a nice arc in there. So there we have it. I haven't created any iris. I wonder if I should quickly do that now. Let me do that now. I think she's going to have blue eyes. Just do this iris. There we have Angelica from Monsters Inc. I am quite pleased with that. I hope you've enjoyed it too. Let's just recap how we went about doing this. So we studied the characters that already existed, we turned them into silhouettes, we understood what shapes they made, so we knew that our third character needed to be a different shape to differentiate from the two characters that already exist. We looked at the colours that already existed, and we played around with working out complementary colours that would go with her, which resulted in this kind of pinky, orangey, reddy colour. And I've added in greys and peaches, and I also warmed up the grey, or rather cooled down the grey, by adding in some blue in there as well. And by creating the character like this and deciding on that she would have like a wet slime type of feel, like oozy, like a snail, I suppose. I don't know. Compared to the fur and the dry skin, we went for this like globular slime dripping off her, which informed the character's name. So we realised that it began to look like jam and jelly, and she's a triangle. She started as a triangular shape, so that's how we got to Angelica. This is Angelica from Monsters Inc. I can't wait to see what you create, whether or not you decide to draw Angelica or whether or not you've created your own characters. If you haven't already, be sure to join my Discord server. All the details about that are within Patreon, and add a photograph of what you've drawn. So I cannot wait to see. And I'd like to make like a gallery so we can celebrate all the pictures we've done together. And I will make sure that you have this as a colouring sheet ready to go if you want to just sit and colour in whilst I colour in. So that is everything for the first ever Patreon draw along from me, Mark, from MarcoLooks. I hope you enjoyed it. I've had a great time just designing and creating character from scratch. This character's just come from thin air. So I can't wait to see what you create with your time with me. And I'll let you get on. Cool. Thank you very much. Take care. Love you lots. Bye.